This content is AI generated for informational purposes only and should not be directly used for clinical decision-making.
Hello and welcome back to the Neurosurgery Hub podcast. I'm Dr. Aris, a senior attending here, and I'm joined as always by our research fellow.
And I'm Dr. Elia. Today we're looking at a fascinating new study from the Journal of Clinical Neuroscience, the official journal of the Neurosurgical Society of Australasia, published in 2026. The title is Real-Time Intraoperative Depth Estimation in Transsphenoidal Surgery Using Deep Learning, a Feasibility Study.
This is a topic close to my heart, Alara. We've seen the endoscopic endonasal approach become the gold standard for so many pathologies: pituitary adenomas, craniopharyngiomas, chordomas, and even certain meningiomas. But for those of us who grew up using the microscope, the transition to the endoscope always comes with one specific hurdle: the loss of true binocular depth perception.
Exactly. The paper points out that the video feed provided by standard endoscopes is generally two-dimensional. While we train our brains to compensate using monocular cues like shadows, perspective, and relative size, that lack of stereopsis can still hinder depth perception. It makes the fine-tuned navigation around the carotid or the optic chiasm just a bit more taxing for the surgeon.
And that's where this study comes in. They aren't suggesting we go out and buy expensive, bulky 3D endoscopic hardware. Instead, they are looking at a deep learning approach. Alara, walk us through the core objective here.
The authors conducted a feasibility study to see if they could generate three-dimensional imaging without the need for special endoscopes. They used deep learning to achieve real-time intraoperative depth estimation. Essentially, the goal is to take that standard 2D feed and use an algorithm to calculate the depth of the surgical field.
That's a significant shift in philosophy. Instead of hardware-based 3D, we're talking about software-defined 3D. Why is that distinction so important for a practicing neurosurgeon?
Well, as the paper suggests, it's about enhanced intraoperative orientation. If we can use deep learning to provide depth data in real time, we get the benefits of 3D visualization, better spatial awareness, and safer dissection without the specialized, often more expensive and cumbersome 3D endoscope systems. It's about making high-level orientation accessible through the equipment most centers already have.
Let's dive deeper into the real-time aspect. In transsphenoidal surgery, especially when you're dealing with a vascular chordoma or a firm craniopharyngioma, things change quickly. There's bleeding, there's debris, and the instruments are constantly moving in and out of the frame. Did the study address the intraoperative feasibility specifically?
Yes, that's why they labeled it a feasibility study. They wanted to see if these deep learning models could handle the actual environment of the OR. The abstract highlights that generating these images is beneficial for enhanced intraoperative orientation, implying that the model needs to be fast enough to keep up with the surgeon's movements. If there's a lag, it's useless, or worse, dangerous.
And the pathologies they mentioned, pituitary adenomas, craniopharyngiomas, chordomas, and meningiomas, those aren't just a random list. Those are cases where the depth of field varies significantly. In a pituitary case, you're in a relatively confined space. But with a chordoma, you might be working from the clevis all the way back to the brainstem. Accurate depth estimation there is the difference between a clean resection and a catastrophic complication.
Right. And for residents and fellows, the learning curve for endoscopic surgery is often tied directly to this 2D to 3D mental translation. The paper suggests that by using deep learning to provide this data, we might be able to bridge that gap. It's essentially providing a digital map of the Z-axis that the 2D camera normally ignores.
I find it interesting that they are focusing on feasibility first. In the world of AI and neurosurgery, we often see black box models, but here they are looking at a very practical application. How do we help the surgeon know exactly how far the tip of their curette is from the back wall of the sphenoid or the tumor interface?
Exactly. And because this doesn't require special endoscopes, it's a very scalable solution. You don't have to overhaul the OR suite, you just need the computational power to run the deep learning model on the existing video signal.
It's a glimpse into the future of the intelligent OR. We're moving from just seeing the anatomy to having the computer interpret the spatial relationships within that anatomy in real time.
Definitely. It's about taking the video feed we already have and extracting more value from it to improve patient safety and surgical precision.
Fascinating work. It will be interesting to see how this moves from a feasibility study to a standard of care tool in our transsphenoidal cases. Thank you, Alara, for breaking that down.
My pleasure.
And thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time on the Neurosurgery Hub podcast.